Thank you all for taking some time out of your day to come join us for this quick session. We're going to try and get through things as quick as we can. We know that you have some football to watch tonight, so things are ramping up, and I know it's getting exciting. So thanks again for taking some time to join us here today for Major Mondays. This is our first session for undecided students, and I'm going to be your host for today. My name is Eddie. I'm one of the transfer admissions counselors at Uccs, so I'll be walking you through this wonderful journey of undecided. But I won't be alone. Today we're joined by two guest speakers. So we have Valerie and Emma here in the chat. They have presentations for us today that they're going to walk us through. So Valerie, Emma, if you want to take a little bit and introduce yourselves, you're welcome to get on.
Let's try that again. Sorry about that, folks. My name is Valerie Mcclinton. I'm the Assistant Director of Academic Advising at UCCS and have been on campus for going into my 10th year. I do have a caseload of students, so I advise in our social science areas, but actually have a caseload of undecided students myself. We are really proud of the work that our team does with prospective and current students, and I'll share a little bit about our advising model in a little bit, but excited to be a resource for you tonight.
Thank you, Valerie. And
Sure.
then if you want to jump on and introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, so my name is Emma Crowder. I'm going into my 4th year here at the university with a major in philosophy and minors in cognitive studies, psychology, and French. And I work here at the Office of Admissions as front desk, as well as a client's guide.
Cool. Thank you, Emma. So yeah, folks, a lot of excitement today. Again, we're going to try to get through this content. Valerie and Emma are going to help us really dig into their respective areas and help you understand what undecided is and what it holds for students at UCCS. Before we get into any of that undecided information, I just have some quick updates about Major Mondays moving forward. Some of you know that today is our first Major Monday, so a great turnout for this. Our next 2 Major Mondays are coming on the next 2 Mondays in September. So September 21st, we'll have a Major Monday for communication, and September 28th for political science. The next 2 Major Mondays are going to be slightly different than this one in that they won't be live, they'll be recordings. So you can access those recordings. It will go live on their respective Mondays, and that's when they will launch. We do have a link down there. It's uccs.edu/virtual. That'll take you to our site so you can view all of our Major Mondays and some of our other cool virtual projects that we're engaging in this semester. So you can sign up for these events there, and that way when you're signed up for these, we'll send you an email directly with these videos so you can view them. If you don't sign up for those events, you can still find those videos posted down there on the webpage. So there's a couple of ways for you to engage with that. And before I hand over the reins to Valerie to get started with our content for today, I want you all to know that down below here in Zoom, there should be a Q&A box. So if you guys have questions throughout the session, feel free to type in your questions and we'll address those as we go. If we have time at the end of the session, we'll be answering some of those questions live. So if you have something to say, go ahead and share it with us and we'll answer those questions when we can. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and let Valerie take it away.
All right, thanks, Eddie. So my game plan for our time tonight is to do a little bit of talking about how advising supports undecided students and share with you the resources available to you. That's a big part of what advising at the college level is. It's helping to connect students and resources, supporting them throughout their exploration process. So that's the bulk of the way we engage with students, and so it's kind of exciting to get to introduce you to that early on. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and hopefully this will cooperate. So as I mentioned, advising at UCCS is a team effort, and we are really fortunate that we actually just hired 2 new staff members to join our team. So we've got 21 advisors. We work with students from orientation all the way through graduation. So we have an opportunity to build relationships. And I think that's really important for folks who are trying to maximize opportunities and really feel like they're getting the most out of their time. We're able to help you connect with things that are meaningful and that might be a good fit with you, to the extent to which we get to know you. So I want to introduce you to some of our advising resources. And one tool at UCCS that is super valuable and helpful is our handy dandy search tool. Unlike many universities where you might find yourself going in circles to find what you're looking for, our search tool is really pretty spot on. And so if you just search any term, even an individual, let's say you had a question for me that we didn't get to in the chat, and all you knew about me was that my name was Valerie. You could search for me and you could see, oh, there's really only one Valerie who works in advising. So really quickly we could get connected. So I encourage you, as you're exploring universities and specifically options at UCCS, to dig in and poke around and see what you can find. So when you come to our advising homepage, if you come to advisors and staff, you're going to see that all of our team works with undecided students. So we are all well versed in tools and resources and approaches, questions to ask to help folks navigate the range of options at UCCS, and some career paths beyond UCCS as well. We work in teams, so as you explore options, you'll be connected with an advisor based on your intended major, and as you can see by their alphabetical split. So as you enter and navigate options, your advisor may change, and that's done really purposefully so that you always have access to a resource who's an expert in your area. In addition to the full-time staff members that we have working in advising, many departments have faculty members that are actively involved with advising as well. And often those faculty are more in tune with career trends or graduate school preparations, areas of specialization. So we work kind of in tandem as really nice partnership. And so just wanted to give you a sense of kind of the human resources behind the support available when it comes to advising. We really recognize that college is a time of many, many transitions. And often one of the biggest ones is that you're just now kind of getting a sense of yourself and how you want to plug in and where you want to connect. So it's not a surprise that in a 2017 study by the National Center for Educational Statistics, the U.S. Department of Education found that within a 3-year period, about 30% of undergraduates changed their major at least one time. And so that may be prompted for any number of reasons. Maybe you stumbled upon a field you didn't know existed. Maybe students recognized early on that what they thought a particular field was really wasn't what they had intended. There's so many reasons that folks may choose to make a change, and really, college is a time of exploration. So we encourage you to feel those options out and feel the freedom to make a change. In fact, when we meet with undecided students at orientation, we often tell them, you're ahead of the game because you're taking that time to explore actively on the front end, rather than reaching a point of exploring partway through. And there's a range of decidedness. Some folks may really know what they want to study, but they don't know what they want to do with that. Or perhaps they have a sense of the family of fields they're interested in, but haven't narrowed down to one. Or they're just not sure what the declaration process entails. So lots of reasons to be undecided, but we're really encouraging of that for folks early on to maximize opportunities. So when we support an undecided student, there are 3 kind of ways we like to think about how you might explore. The first of those is exploring yourself. And there's lots and lots of different ways that you might choose to do that. That might be just sitting down and thinking about some of your most memorable times. Maybe something amazingly rewarding, something you're very proud of, or maybe something that was surprisingly not what you expected it to be. Those memories, those things that you felt really strongly about, are often great starting points, kind of pointing your compass in the direction of maybe an area we might want to explore. Also, you might find talking to folks who know you well in different contexts could be a great way to learn about yourself. So maybe that's a teacher or a coach who's seen you grow over time, or a supervisor in a job, or just a good friend who's who really has a handle on who you are and can kind of reflect that back to you. So that can be done, really informally or more formally. And then the third one we've got is what we call assessments. And on our website, for meta majors, which I'm going to talk about here momentarily, the very, 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 very bottom, you can come and you can take a score of assessments where you can learn about your strengths, your interests, your values. And those are really what make up the unique constellation of what makes you you and what's driving you in the directions you're heading. Another way you might think about exploring is through learning about different fields or disciplines. I was very proud of it as a college student. I look at it differently now as an academic advisor, but I was really good at avoiding things I didn't know about. I wasn't sure what anthropology was. I'm just not going to take a class in that area. And now I recognize how much I missed out on. So really, we encourage folks to dig in and get a sense of the range of options available. And our link for majors and minors can help you do that. So the university is organized by college, and that's kind of a broad branch of academic programs. And under each college here, you can open up, well, if I move my little window, I can open up for you. There we go. All of the different majors that fall within a college. And so these advising guides are great resources to come in and say, what is anthropology? It will tell you what anthropology is right here in this major information section. So what might you learn about? What things might you experience? What are fields or directions that this particular discipline is growing in? It lists particular courses that are required within a department. It takes 120 credit hours to earn a bachelor's degree. And so you can see this major is less than a third of that. And so in addition to an area of discipline, there are other parts of your degree. Those are outlined on page 2 here, where we can see you're learning about humanities and social sciences, you're taking writing intensive courses and oral communication courses. The last section here is what we call kind of our 4-year degree plan, which is a roadmap, a sample of how an anthropology student might navigate their degree requirements. One thing I definitely point out to all first-year students, whether they're declared in a major or not, is that a student in the anthropology department would only take one anthropology course per semester in their first 2 years actually. And so the focus there is really on building skills and gaining exposure to areas in a wide variety of disciplines. My train of thought just went away for that anthropology example, but it lets you know that you do have some time to kind of explore the options available to you. Another tool that we have available are what we call meta majors. And meta majors are groupings of majors that help folks to get a sense of the range of options that are related. So you might think, gosh, I love history, but I'm not sure I want to do history as a major. What are some other related things? And so you can kind of get a sense of the disciplines that fall into an arts area. And from there can go on and learn about a particular department, see the specifics of an advising guide. So meta majors is a way to broaden an area of interest, but it also is a way to dig in and say, if I want to be a helper, what are the specific programs that I could look at? And once you've looked at academic programs, you can also take our next step, which is what we call exploring careers. Here are a host of resources where you could go and search any career title. What does it mean to be a chiropractor? What training do I need? What are the career prospects for someone in that field? What skills would I need? Oftentimes looking at the specifics of a career path, you might recognize, oh gosh, this is more technical than I recognized, or I'm actually going to be talking with people face to face more than I realized. So these are where we can kind of start to put a shape to particular career paths. Sometimes we start at careers. I know I want to work in public relations, but I don't know yet how I want to get there. And so we can work backwards from that career information. Also, working with people and picking their brains about their work lives can be really valuable. So that might be talking with a supervisor, a job you currently have, or reaching out to someone in a position of interest to ask if you might be able to shadow them. Another resource is what we call informational interviewing, and that's where you basically sit down and just interview or pick apart the work experience of someone in an area that you might consider. And folks love to talk about themselves and the things that they do, so oftentimes that's a really valuable way to see, could I imagine myself in this type of a role? I feel like that covers our 3 options of kind of how we explore, and advisors are well versed in all of these tools. We've got a lot of experience in posing questions that kind of help you to think about, why am I here? What am I wanting to get out of it? How do I want to stretch myself? What are my strengths that I might want to highlight? Because we all have a different package of skills and attributes that we bring into the university. And our hope is that we can help you refine those and really take ownership of what makes you unique, and that you can run with that as you move through your college experience. So I'm going to call that good for my section here. Emma, I'm going to let you jump in, or Eddie, if there's anything else we need to do before we switch gears, you just let us know.
No, that's perfect. Thank you so much, Valerie, for that. Emma, if you want to hop on, yeah, perfect. And Emma, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about what it's like in your personal experience? I know you have a story behind your experience with Undecided, if you wanted to share that with us.
Yeah, so came into the university undecided, which seriously the best thing I could have done. It terrified me though to be undecided, because people would ask me, oh, you're going to college, like what are you going to college for? And I'd be like, well, I don't know, and so that was something that was very challenging coming in and having that sort of stigma on that. But definitely the best thing you could ever do, I would encourage every single person to come in undecided, because it definitely helped me figure out, where I needed to be now. But I actually came into the university thinking, oh, so I'm undecided, but you know what, I kind of want to be a doctor. And so, I'm going to go on that biology route. And I went to advising to declare my major. And I was talking with the undecided advising person who was there. And she was like, Emma, the way you're talking right now, your interests seem to be this. Let's just think here. Let me tell you a little bit more about the different programs we have. And so I was like, oh, okay, you're right. I don't need to decide anything right now. So she was talking to me, and all of a sudden she was telling me what goes into biology. And I was thinking yeah, I like this, but I really can't do all that physics and that chemistry and that biology, all the stuff you need to definitely be a doctor, didn't sound too good to me all of a sudden. So she was like, tell you what, you can come back later and think about it. So I did think about it a lot. And I went to a GPS class that I had, and GPS is a navigational class that all freshmen have to take here at the university. And my advisor there was telling us all about the different majors that were being offered. And he mentioned philosophy, and we talked a little bit about philosophy, and I was thinking, well, that's a cool major. I would like to do that. And I was like, but philosophy is not at all practical. You don't ever hear anybody saying, oh, you should go into philosophy. There's a lot of money in that. So, so I sat there and I thought about it, as any good philosopher would do. And one of my friends asked me, if you could be any major, what would you do? And I was like, oh yeah, philosophy for sure. And I was so dead set on it that I was like, okay, hang on a minute. Maybe I could do this for my actual life. And so I went back in and talked to my advisor again. And she was like, I think philosophy sounds a little bit better for you. So, let's go for it. And so I changed my major there. And then, after some time, I changed my major again. It took me quite a few times of changing my major, my emphasis, all of that, to get where I am now. But now I'm still in philosophy, so it's pretty good. I like it.
Cool. Thanks for sharing a little bit about that. I have some follow-up questions for you, Emma, if you don't mind sticking around and answering some of those. So
Yeah.
changing your major, how many times have you actually gone in and changed your major, maybe rethought and explored those options?
Um, I think 3 times. Four if you're counting the undecided. So quite a few. I'm like the epitome of undecided, I feel.
And then Emma, as someone who came in as undecided, have you met many other students who are undecided or have changed their majors over the course of their college career? Is that something that you see commonly?
Yeah, so I was actually just talking about this with one of my friends, how they came in undecided and then, they've changed their major a lot as well. And we were talking about how great it really was to have gotten the opportunity to not really have all that pressure of like being thrown into a major. These are the classes you need to take, yada, yada, yada. And so I got to kind of decide and take a bunch of classes before really, figuring it out. So I think that was great. And so did my friend.
Cool. Well, thanks for talking a little bit about your experience and giving kind of the student perspective behind that. As we continue moving forward with this, Val, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, Emma's conversation right there reminded me of something really important. Most degrees have a common starting point. At UCCS in a first semester, as we looked at those advising guides, you'll see that most students take an English composition course. Most students take a GPS course, which is kind of our continued transition support throughout the first semester. They'll take one course in their major, and then they'll take courses in what we call general education requirements. And those may be building skills in oral communication or in reasoning. They may also be kind of exploration support. So a course in an Explore Arts, Humanities, and Cultures requirement gives a student a chance to go out and try something in a field of majors. And often when students are seeking out those exploratory courses, that's when they have a little light bulb and they go, oh my gosh, I've never been exposed to this, or this is exactly the type of thing I could see myself doing. And if a student switches gears, that course that had served as a general education requirement would, after the declaration process happens, which is a real quick update in your student record, that course becomes a part of your major. It's my academic focus. It's what I'm here to learn the most about. And then the course that you had initially taken to explore in a major, that may serve as an exploratory course as well, or as an elective. And so the courses you complete are a part of your degree portfolio, but the purpose that they serve is fluid. And so if you do shift gears, it's not like I go back to start and I've got to move through those first credit hours again. We just repurpose them. We use them in a different way, and those all help you move closer to that end goal of graduating with 120 credit hours on a timeline that meets your needs. So that was definitely something I'm sure Emma experienced, is you don't lose courses, they serve you in a different way.
Cool. Thank you, Valerie. And that's a really important distinction to make. So I'm glad that you brought that up with us as well. Well, folks, I don't want to take up too much of your time here any longer. The biggest thing that I have for you all right now is just to say thank you so much for sticking around. We may have time for 1 or 2 more questions. So if you had any questions from anything that we've talked about, please go ahead and send them here in the Q&A and we'll be able to answer those. Otherwise, if you want to talk to us about your particular situation or maybe explore some options, feel free to email us at go@uccs.edu. We look forward to seeing you in October for our next live Major Monday session. And something else to end on, we spoke very briefly about career opportunities. We actually have a video that our Career Center put together specifically for you folks that we'll be sending out to everyone who attended this webinar. So thank you for coming. We'll be sending that out to you here by the end of the week. If you have any questions, please feel free to stick around and ask those. Otherwise, in these next 2 minutes, feel free to trickle out and we'll end the meeting. So feel free to submit any questions that you have. Perfect. So we've got our first question, and Val or Emma, feel free to take this. Someone said, how do I get the major questionnaires / quizzes through the UCCS website? Valerie, would you mind re-walking the student through the process so that you can show them how to get to this from the UCCS website?
Sure, I would be happy to. Let me pull my video back up and then we'll do some screen sharing. Okay, so if I were a student and I was on the UCCS homepage and I wanted to explore some opportunities about majors, I would come to advising. And most of those exploratory resources live within that meta major, heading. So we could scroll, we could select the major meta, goodness, that's hard to say, meta major section, I apologize, and come down to the bottom where you can see resources and tools for major exploration. And the Career One-Stop Skills Finder is a great place that you could start because that is a public resource. That's not something that you would need to be granted access to. Focus 2 is a battery of assessments that we use through our Career Center. So of the options here, I would definitely go with the Career One-Stop. Also, if you come to the Occupational Information Network, there are some additional assessments available there. And so those are two free resources that you can utilize at any point in your exploration. And as you work through those, I'll just show you real quickly. Where I would start is, well, I'll show you a couple things. If that's my husband's little football team name, he was looking for a graphic. Let's say I'm interested in, I think I used chiropractors before. Oh my goodness, fingers. When you're searching here, one of the things you'll come into here is knowledge. These are the types of disciplines that a particular, like a career path would build off of. So this may give you a starting point for some career paths. You also can come to just the home page here and do kind of their interest assessment. And that's a broader way to look at jumping off points that can support you as you explore your career paths or majors that you might move into. So those are the two I would recommend if you are looking for some broad things. If you are wanting to be a little bit more granular and look at specifically what does it mean to study a particular field, in particular at UCCS, then on our advising page, the majors and minors section is where you can find those advising guides for any and all majors that give you the specifics within that particular program. So I think those are some good starting points.
Excellent. Thank you, Valerie, for taking that question and helping us answer.
Sure.
Thanks again in general just to Valerie and Emma for making today possible and for coming to share their experiences and expertise with us. As for everyone who came and joined us in this webinar, thanks again. But it's about that time that we call it. So for any future questions, please reach out to us at go@uccs.edu. Make sure to explore our advising website for more resources, and you'll hear back again from us soon with an email with a video from the Career Center. So thank you all for joining us. Have a wonderful night. And if you're going to watch football, I hope your team wins. Have a good one, folks. Bye-bye.